Group F, Croatia 4, Canada 1. Hrvatska, the 2018 World Cup runners-up, coming from behind after going down in a 1-0 deficit off an Alphonso Davies goal in the second minute. Shout out to Alphonso Davies and shout out to Canada. They've registered their first ever goal in World Cup history, as we know. In 1986, Canada played in the World Cup. They did not find the back of the net once. So this was a bit of history here for Canada. And this is a moment that they will cherish, hopefully forever. So about this game, I think it was a bit of a mistake for Canada to trying to beat Croatia down the middle of the stretch. It was just not happening. Croatia has arguably consistently one of the finer midfields in the world. And if you limit their midfield more, and you have a chance to catch them on the counter, especially given Davies' athleticism, I think that only works if Canada had opted for a low block instead after taking the lead, in a similar way to what Costa Rica lined up how they did against Japan in that 5-4-1. I think it could have been more effective because once Canada took the lead, they struck early. You forced Croatia to open up and come into the game, and in a match where you need a result because you lost your opener, I think that would have been the more preferable way to approach the remainder of the match. Playing a press against Croatia, I think, was just going to gas the players and open up space, because you're talking about veteran midfielders in Croatia who know how to deal with that style of play. And the back line for Canada was quite poor and especially slow to react today. So there's a chance that a low block would have been ripped to shreds anyway if they set up that way, so I digress. But it feels like, even though it's great for teams to play up to the opponent's level and try to play them as equals, I can't help but feel that in a situation like this, that was a mistake for Canada. And I might have, instead of preferred to have seen Alphonso Davies do what he does best and maybe have Canada revert to a sort of way where you open up space for the counter, which is something that I think could have helped David be more effective. And Canada putting up a low block and pouncing on the break was something that worked in qualifying against teams like Mexico and the US. What usually works for Canada is catching the other team off with the pace of their forwards on the break, and it almost worked versus Belgium, whose defense in that game was especially vulnerable to surging pace. But after Croatia got settled into it, it just didn't pay off. It didn't plan off. And I think Canada either tried to go too fast or they were too slow and allowed them to get settled in. And the Eustachio, with not having Eustachio in the midfield, I think certainly didn't help. And Canada started the second half with basically three-man Eustachio, Kone, Osorio midfield. And it probably would have been better since they didn't concede the third one, who started off from a bad Atiba Hutchinson giveaway. And I feel like Johnston was a little bit outmatched by Perisic, and most of Croatia's chances really started there. Croatia came back into this match because this is what experience and leadership in major tournaments does to a team. Remember last World Cup in 2018? They came back quite a few times and won games. They have this tournament experience. Canada just does not. But this is something to build for the next World Cup in 2026. And I think Canada proved that they have a potentially very bright future. For Croatia, Kramaric gets a lot of criticism, but he's shutting up the haters. I mean, he's got 3 goals in 3 games. And could we see Kramaric, Perisic, Levaya be the new front line for Croatia going forward? I mean, because they looked really good. As soon as any of them got substituted, it got worse for Croatia in this match. I think Kramaric looks much better in this wing position as long as he's in tandem with Levaya. And for Croatia's vantage point, it better stay that way. Let's talk briefly about Luka Modric. I thought he was uncharacteristically poor. Still kind of waiting for him to truly show his magic in this tournament, but at least Kovacic and Perisic have now woken up. But Modric was not great. He was making mistakes, which he usually doesn't do, and he was kind of looking out of it. But anyway, it's a good signal for Croatia because the team often really depends on him. So maybe this shows that they found a way out of that sort of dependency of him pulling the strings in midfield. Good goals though on the day for Kramaric, Marko Lavaya, and Lovro Majer. Kramaric got a brace in this game. A convincing turnaround for Croatia, and that 3-goal margin victory could prove crucial. Goal difference is looking like a tight group. If they lose that match against Belgium, you never know. That could be what squeezes Croatia through, but they have an opportunity now to win the group. They're temporarily on top ahead of Morocco on goal difference. So we shall see what happens. Canada, hold your head up. Hold your head up. You're going to be on fire when CONCACAF hosts the next World Cup. I feel it.